Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of my favourite people and, of course, some of the country's biggest stars. And it's always nice to talk to a legend, a man who's done everything. He's got a brand new album out. He was in the West End in the Roy Orbison story. And, of course, he's worked with everybody from Cliff Richard and now me. Peter Howarth, how are you?
I'm very, very well, Alex. How are you?
I'm delicious, and it's nice talking to you because you're one of those people who can deliver. Seems to me today, with the right processing, anybody can have an album out.
Yes, they can. I think if you get anybody can reasonably hold a kind of tune. You can stick somebody in front of a microphone, and with all the knobs and dials, you can certainly get something out of somebody, I would imagine, and a good producer could knock something together in a listenable form. Yeah, most people could actually record an album if they so wished.
There's certainly no auto-tune on your new album, is there?
No, we tend not to use it because it affects the tone of the voice. And I'm not saying I don't sing that tune. I am human, and sometimes you'll find something slightly out. You think, well, that's nice, got a nice character to it, so you leave it in. But I'm pretty OCD with that, so there's none of that really going on. I'll just sing it again and get it in tune. But hopefully, most of the songs are done not in one take. I've only seen Cliff do that, actually. Cliff did a vocal in one take. And although usually I'll take one as my major take, I'll sing it 3 or 4 times, and I'll take one as a major one, and if there's one slight note slightly wrong, I'll take a line and I'll sing it about 4 times, and they'll just move that line to where the dodgy one is. That seems to be that's the way I seem to like recording vocals.
How marvellous. I mean, when I listen to your voice, there's a purity about it. There's a mellifluous tone that I can sort of hear why you got the gig as Roy Orbison. Those notes aren't easy at the top, are they?
No, they're not easy at the top. Well, I think they're easier if you're one younger and you've got a nice, naturally high voice. Then it's like singing your normal register. My normal register goes up. Normally, I would say to about a B flat. B's getting a little hard these days. In my younger days, I used to get C's and the occasional D when I was doing sort of a lot of rock singing. But as I've got older, my voice has got slightly different. It's slightly come down in a tone or two naturally, with a little bit more tone, which I think that's what happens to most people as they get older. Their voice kind of matures a little bit. So yeah, Orbison wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, especially doing 8 shows a week.
I was going to ask about that. Is it a bit like being in a boxing match where you just punched left, right and centre through those 8 shows? Those 2-show matinee days can't have been easy.
You pace yourself as much as you can, although I always believe that if you're doing a Tuesday night show, and we start on Tuesdays, I think we had Monday off, when you do the Tuesday, you give the same show as you do on a Saturday night. For me, the people that are coming through the door are paid just the same money as a Saturday night audience. A lot of, some people, they'd save themselves for the Saturday night crowd, but for me, I sang it and gave as much as I could every time I did it. But when it got to the weekend, we did 2 on a Friday, 2 on a Saturday, and 1 on a Sunday. So by Monday, I couldn't really speak. By Monday morning, it was tough. I'm not saying it wasn't tough. It was, but it does you a lot of good developing that stamina. That it's like getting into training for something, and you when you know you've got to do something, you just get on and do it. You don't really think about it. You just do it.
How terrifying is it waking up in the morning and going, is it still there? Is there a moment where you think, am I up to this?
No, I'll tell you what, Alex, you just hit a name, the nail right on the head there, actually. And again, I've got used to this as well, because what would happen is that you would do a show, and then I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and when I'm going to the bathroom, I'll go, ooh, and I try to sink a little bit, and the stupid thing you could possibly do, and then the voice wouldn't be there. You've got to allow your voice to recover, really. And the only way, what you should do is not even bother trying to sing until the following night, round about 6 o'clock. But it's so easy to start trying to sing and panic and think, well, I'm not going to be able to get that note, I'm not going to be able to get that note. Just leave it until the night time, and it usually appears. But it's hard not to panic.
I mean, anybody who's tried crying at, I don't mean crying literally, but the song crying at karaoke will realise how hard it is. I mean, it's over about 13 octaves, isn't it?
13 octaves. I don't know. It's pretty high. I think it's a falsetto, and for me, with crying, it is actually, you're right, it's a heck of a song to sing, because you've got the transition between falsetto, which I think it goes like to top D, I think, and then comes down into normal register, but then your normal register, I think you're up to top A. So yeah, it's not an easy song to sing if you want to give it the full beans, as they say. It's a great song, an amazing song, Not good if you just come out of a relationship, I would imagine, to sing, but it is great.
Yeah, a bit depressing.
The drummer, I remember the drummer when we did the Roy Orbison story. I think unfortunately his wife left him when we were doing the show. I mean, what a show to be doing when your wife's just left you, you could sometimes look back and see him sort of hunched over the kick, literally crying, he's kind of, it's over and all that, it was very tough for him to be hammered with that 8 times a week when you're going through.
Let's talk about this new album, because it is extraordinary. You've got 3 tracks on it, and what I love about it is they're all so different. There's clearly a religious overtone. We've got Palm 23, Evermore, which is such a glorious song. Lament, I have to say, is probably one of my favourites, and of course the classic He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of an EP taster for the album to come that's due out in January. I just recorded the last song, actually. Was it about 4 days ago? I just recorded the last one to be mixed, and hopefully we'll get it out by January. But there is the reason that there's this kind of, we like to say, an inspirational overtone, although it is religious. I mean, Psalm 23 was my mother's favourite prayer, and the reason that came out about is that when I was doing a Hollies gig, I do like an acoustic section where I sing just a couple of songs on my own with an acoustic guitar, which has grown over the last 10 years, and I've got a little bit of repertoire of acoustic songs, which I'm doing an acoustic little tour, and blah, blah, blah. But the point being is that a lady called Pam Rhodes was watching me do this. She went to see a concert we were doing with the Hollies, and I spoke to her afterwards, and she said to me, I really love what you do with acoustic guitar. Have you got anything inspirational or religious that would you like to do songs of praise? And I said, I'd love to do songs of praise, I really would, but I haven't got anything particularly that's directly religious. And she said, well, could you get something together? I said, well, give me a week and I'll see what I can do. And I had written Psalm 23 with some of my writing partners for a girl singer about 2 years previously. It was more like a classical version of it, and I thought I could do an acoustic version of this. So what I did, I got the guitar out, did an acoustic version of it, recorded it and sent it to Pam, who presented it to Songs of Praise, and they said, this is lovely, and we'll have him on. So I went on and did Psalm 23, and they also asked me back, I think it was a few months ago, and I did the old Rugged Cross for them. So the album was really Pam's idea. Pam did say to me, why don't you do an album of inspirational stuff, because with the guitar I think it'd be lovely, She said, I think people would really like it. She said, why don't you, there's a great poem by Elizabeth Bray called Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep, I Am Not There, I Do Not Sleep. And I knew that because I had that at my dad's funeral. I said, yeah, I know that poem. She said, well, why don't you put it to music and do Psalm 23 and do a few songs of an inspirational nature, not all about religion, but just general inspiration. People, when they get married, if somebody's lost somebody, or somebody's just been born, or something like that, something that means something to somebody. So I thought that's a great idea, and from that was about a year and a bit ago, we've been working very hard to get an album together. And of course, He Ain't Heavy falls into that category. It's an inspirational song. It means so much to so many different people. And I actually sung that acoustically for a very good friend of mine, whose mother passed away, and he asked me to sing it at the funeral. He didn't want me to use a backing track or a piano. He wanted me to do it on a guitar. So I did a version of it, and that's the version I've recorded on the album. And that seemed perfect for me to do that song, being in the Hollies and doing my own little project. It was a lovely little bridge of the two, and it was just happened to be an inspirational song as well, which worked perfectly.
And it's so nice to hear someone who can actually sing. I mean, the way that you hit those notes during He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother is as good as you were hitting 20, 30 years ago. And that must be a thrill, because there must be a fear that as you get older, the voice will sort of decrease and you will be sort of losing notes by the week.
There is. I think every singer has that must have that fear. That you are going to, one day you're not going to get up and you're not going to be able to bellow it out like you used to do. And just funny enough, I've just done 4 concerts in Scotland with the Hollies, and I had a tiny bit of a cold, and it makes me realise when you do get anything wrong with your equipment, as it were, it makes it really hard work. And every note you have to get this huge amount of air to bellow it out. And it is a bit of a worry that but all I can do is do what I do, be grateful for it, and try and keep myself as fit as possible, and do it for as long as I possibly can. That's all you can. You can't worry about things that are not going to or might not happen.
And again, I suppose you could get into a negative sort of psychosis where you make yourself ill by worrying about if you're going to get ill.
Well, that's the thing with that. When you're talking about people getting up in the middle of the night, I call it singer's panic, and I used to get that a lot when I was younger, but now I recognise it and I won't do it now. I won't let myself panic. I'll just, if I get up and I've had a hard night singing the night before, I just won't bother even trying to sing until I go and do the sound check and warm my voice up. Then I know if I'm going to do it. And usually, if you just leave it alone, the voice is an incredibly tough, robust piece of equipment that stands. I can put testament to an awful lot of abuse in the shouting department. Because I call it shouting, really. Singing's a bit too loud for it. But it's just shouting at people, and that's basically what I've been doing. And it is an incredibly tough piece of equipment.
Enough about hammering your equipment. We better move on and give you a plug, hadn't we, for your tour dates. Okay. 2014 is the year that you're out on the road again. 8th of March, you're in Epsom. The 9th, you're going to be in Cheltenham. The 15th, you're at Enfield. Then you go to London at the St James Theatre. You're in Llandudno. You're going to Boreham Wood. You're going to Basingstoke. You're going to Croydon. And you're going to Banbury as well. You can find out more information at peterhowarth.com, your website. Yeah. Before we go, I must just talk to you about two things. One, the legends you've worked with. And secondly, of course, the Hollies. We're going to get to that last. When you're working with somebody like Cliff Richard, I've been lucky enough to interview Cliff many times, and then once I saw him in an arena with about 30,000 people, and I thought, you can't imagine what it's like to be him and his head, because on the one hand he's having to talk to idiots like me, and on the other hand he's got these adoring fans. Did you ever sort of get into the mind of what it's like to be somebody as omnipresent as Cliff? Because he is everywhere. He's still as current today really as he was then, and he is a legend, isn't he?
He is, but first of all, I don't think you're an idiot. I was terrible to say.
Thank you.
You're not. And Cliff doesn't. I don't think he ever treats anybody as such. I think he's been an incredible ambassador to the business, really, over the last 50 years. He's been chugging on, and he's had an amazing career. He's still going. He's still singing as much as he can. I think he might be obviously slowing down now, because when I first started working with Cliff in 1986, I think it was 86, 87, he was touring 9 months of the year. 9 months of the year he'd tour constantly. But now I think he'd be lucky if it was 9 weeks now. And
I don't blame him in a way. I mean, he's put the work in over 50 years.
No. I mean, I think he just wants to do as much as he feels comfortable with. He still produces an album. I think he's just done a new album, and he goes out and does as much as he wants to, and then he can enjoy the fruits of his labours, because he did work incredibly hard. Well, I'm saying incredibly hard for somebody in our business. I don't mean, I hate it when I say that when anybody in our business say, they're working hard, doing what you love doing, singing, no matter how many gigs you do in a week, is not hard work. It's fun, and it always has been fun. So when I use the term hard work, I mean, for somebody in our business, he has a good work ethic. He did always put the time in. He was very conscientious of what he does. He's very, like I say, he's one of the only people I've seen do a vocal when he can do a guide vocal for us guys to put some backing singing on. He sang it through perfectly, absolutely perfectly, and it was the one that was used on the track.
Do you still pinch yourself when you're in his company or people of his ilk, the fact that they regard you as a fellow professional and you're one of them? Is that amazing?
I never get over the fact that I'm still here in the business, and when I am, because when I was 15, not probably a bit earlier, 12, 13, I used to listen to a lot of Cliff stuff. I was into a couple of albums that I was really into, in Green Light, and then before I worked with him, I was just playing guitar in bands and stuff, and then it was about 10 years later, 9 years later, 10 years later, I was working with him. So that was us. I remember going to the rehearsal room the first day and going, blimey, it's Cliff Richard. I'm actually studying from Cliff Richard. And you have him in the summer holiday films I used to watch when I was a kid, and he's right in front of you, and he's going, hi Pete, how are you? It's like, just bizarre. It's bizarre. And I did get a bit like that, but obviously it's not, I'm not so got used to it. I still get starstruck when I meet people that have, been my heroes, and I just happen to be in a room or get introduced to them. I still go, blimey, it's blah, blah, blah. It's always different. You see somebody on TV and then you're in the flesh in the same room with them. It's always a bit odd,
Funny old business, isn't it?
It It is a funny old business because, you know, they're only normal people at the end of the day. You know, they do all the same things that we do. You know, they're still human. But it's when somebody's been kind of immortalised on screen, or you've been watching them on the screen, you tend to place them somewhere in a star, like people do when people see people on TV, whether it be a reality show or whatever it is. To see somebody enough on TV, all of a sudden they become a TV star, and it's when you actually meet them, it's a bit odd. It is a bit odd, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're being very humble making out you're not one of them, but anybody who's heard you sing, and certainly I saw you in the West End in that Roy Orbison role, absolutely stunning. That's the only way I can phrase it. Incredible.
Wow. When did you see it, Alex? When did you come down to see it?
Well, I started reviewing theatre about 15, 20 years ago, so I think it was probably, 10 years ago, something like that, and you were just one of many, but I think I said at the time, it's very rare that anybody in the West End captures your imagination, and that's why I think people like Michael Ball and even yourself are so rare. There aren't that many personalities, and that's what you've got in your voice, a great depth to it. Congratulations on that.
Well, thank you very much. It's very, very sweet of you, and I really appreciate that. For somebody who's obviously listened to an awful lot, probably a lot more than I have, because that's something I don't really do. I don't listen to enough. My family trying to keep me up to breast. My daughter and my son now, they keep me in touch with a lot of the music that's going on now, because a lot of the time it kind of washes over me, and I don't listen to it. I don't listen to enough new stuff. But my children, I think that's what they do, isn't it? They sort of keep you informed of what's going on.
I don't think you're missing a great deal, Peter, to be perfectly honest with you. Stick with what you know, that's what I say. Let's give another plug for this album then.
Okay.
Let's do it. Peter Howarth's new CD is going to be out next year, but there is an EP available with He Ain't Ever He's My Brother, which is just gorgeous, Lament, and of course Psalm 23, which is just beautiful. There's also a couple of bonus tracks on there, which I really enjoyed. To hear you unplugged again is so nice, and just a beautiful tone. Really, congratulations on that. Such a gift, Peter.
All those songs I think are available on iTunes and stuff for download now, which is great. But the unplugged versions are the ones that are just like little bonus tracks of the ones that I actually did on Songs of Praise. I did it with just acoustic guitar. So for people that like a more stripped down version, that's why I put them on there. I think my wife enjoys the stripped down. That's terrible, isn't it?
I beg your pardon?
The stripped down version. It's terrible, isn't it? I should rephrase that. My wife enjoys the version without any strings and quiet on it.
Enough about your private life. Just very finally before we go, the Hollies, you're back on the road with those, doing the business. All great tunes.
We're laughing all around the UK.
Must be a party, that show.
I'll tell you, we have, one of the stipulations when I joined, when Tony phoned up to come down for just an audition, really. I mean, I did go down to the guys and had a little audition with them, but before I went down, before I even started this venture, I was getting a bit long in the tooth to go out with a band and not enjoying that. So my stipulation is that there's no like divas in there, or there's nobody who's, you know, odd. I don't want any oddness.
I think you're in the wrong business for that, Peter.
No, well, the thing is that when I did get to meet the guys from the moment we started working together, we've had. I actually have to watch it during the day, because I laugh so much when we're on the van and we're touring about, especially with the keyboard player and all of us when we get together. I laugh so much I have to watch my voice, because I've actually laughed so hard. I've actually nearly lost my voice, you know, because I've been screaming and laughing so much. When you walk into a situation like that, you, as a lead singer, although you want to stamp your authority on it, you've got to do it in a subtle way, and I've just gently it slowly over the last 10 years, and it's become more a part of me, and it fits really well now. And we've brought the band in a couple of parties. And although it had a great history, it does have a great history, the Hollies. We'll try to keep that feeling going of the band still together, still creating music, and still hopefully entertaining and giving people good value for money, you know.
Peter, congratulations on everything. The new album will be out next year. You're back on the road. You can find out more at peterhowarth.com. Great to talk to you, Pete. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, and hopefully speak soon.